Okay, so this is the Windows Task Scheduler, and this is the thing that automates all of our programs for us. Without this, we do not have any automation with this project, and we would have to run everything manually. This part right here wasn't too complicated and was pretty easy to set up. So as you can see on the screen, we have several tasks that are going to be ran Monday through Friday. Now, the time at these tasks that they are ran at varies for each one. The order that the tasks are ran doesn't really matter, but when we get to the last couple of tasks, the order for them matters greatly. So the first task that we have is going to be ran at 4 o'clock p.m. This is when the stock market closed, and this task is called the stock sector scrape. The next task that is ran is the raw data stock history all time and weekly at 4:05, and then we have the final news scrape at 4:15. This task takes a bit of time. Then after that, we have at 4:35 fidelity benchmark scrape. By 4:50, all of those tasks should be completed, and then we could open up the Excel macro VBA file. And then at 5 o'clock, we call our SSIS package, and all of our tables are updated in the database. Then at 5:30, we have our Power BI report that is online. It is going to refresh the data from our computer to the Power BI server that we have. So in all, it takes about an hour and a half for everything to be completed. As you can see on screen, this is the detail of one of our tasks. So you can see we are going to start a program, and then we are going to call a batch file. The batch files are open through the command prompt, and if there are a set of commands within the batch file, that code portion gets ran. We also have multiple options on how we want the task to start, or if the task is at a certain action, do we want it to start or not. So we have a lot of options available for us. But in my case, I just need the task to run at the time I specify it. In the task scheduler, you can also see if the task ran successfully or not. So all but one task for this day ran successfully. And the task that did not run successfully was the final news scrape. That one, for some reason, the Anaconda prompt just seems to quit out about a third of the way through, and the task never gets ran. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. It really just depends, and I've tried to do my research, but I haven't done deep enough research as to why it just sometimes it just gives out. But most of the times it's going to run that batch file to completion. So you can see we have a text file, and the text file is the beginning of the batch file. So we are going to change the directory, and then we are going to activate our Anaconda environment. And then for the last remaining lines, we are going to call our Python script. And from within that Anaconda prompt, within the command prompt as well, we are going to run that Python coding that we have shown and went over earlier. And for any other files where we use Python, the text files or the batch files will contain the same concept. But for the updating database batch file, that one is a little bit different. Since we are using SSIS for this one, we need to run an executable file first, and then after that, we can run our SSIS package. I also want to note that we start by creating our batch files as a text files. And then after we are done, we save them with the format of .bat. This is the batch file, and whenever the batch file is clicked on and it's open, it's going to open the command prompt and run the coding. But we do not always need the batch file. For instance, with our Excel macro VBA file, we could immediately call the Excel file from the task scheduler. So you can see we run the Excel executable file, and then we are going to tell it which file to open. Now, the task scheduler will recognize which file we are calling, open the file, and once the macros VBA file is open, it's going to automatically clean and format those files we had. So just as an example, if we click on one of the tasks we have created and then we click run, the task will run. So we are going to give it a couple seconds or minutes for the computer to boot up everything, and then the macros VBA file will be automatically open. While that is happening in the background, I want to say that this part wasn't too challenging. The thing that was challenging that didn't really have to do with the command prompt was activating the Anaconda environment. That took me quite some time to research and figure out how to activate the Anaconda environment and the Anaconda prompt to get that working as well. But as you can see, our macros VBA file has opened, and we didn't have to go through any folders to open the file itself. It just opens, and like I said, whenever this file is open, it's going to clean and format the files that we have specified. And then after this step at 5 o'clock, the updating database task is then ran. And then at 5:30, Power BI, which we have a gateway for on our computer, is going to grab the data from our computer and upload it up to our Microsoft Power BI website. So that's basically it for the task scheduler. Again, another section that isn't really too deep, but it still plays a vital role in this project coming together.